and welcome to Moving Bastrop Forward. I'm your host, Bonnie Coffey, and I'm here with Bastrop City Manager Mike Talbot. And how have you been today?
Just great, Bonnie.
So far, so good?
Everything's been going great, and really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me today and to get an update on some issues that are going on in the city or some of the projects. I think it's very important that our citizens know what's going on, and I really enjoy someone from our citizens that would take the interest to come down and want to find out and quiz me, and so I'm really delighted that you're here today.
There will not be a test later, so you don't have to
All
worry
right,
about
that's
that.
good, that's good.
We just want to let you know that this is your opportunity to learn about what's going on in the city of Bastrop and hear it straight from the city manager's mouth. And if you have any interest or if you have something special you'd like to talk about, be sure and let us know. So before we move to some of the stuff that we've been talking about, Mike, tell us first of all about a couple of things on your agenda that hit your list of things that you want us to know.
Well, I think probably one of the first ones is Church Street, the reconstruction of that project. We did run into a few delays, and there were some concerns that maybe we weren't making enough progress on that street, but I'm not here to make excuses. There were some delays, and our plans were to finish it up sooner than we had anticipated, but the October 30th rain event here caused a lot of havoc and disruption, and we had to divert our city forces down to the park and get the park cleaned up so that we could have the trail of lights ready for Thanksgiving and time, because people really start to come down there after Thanksgiving. Sure. But we began paving on Monday. We'll be paving this week, and it's been a great week for us to pave, so the weather's been with us. Right. And so by tomorrow, the paving should be completed, and we'll come in Monday and then start cleaning up and dressing up the site. I do greatly appreciate the citizens who've lived on that street. I know it's been a disruption, but for your benefit and for the community, not only was the street redone, but we improved the drainage. We put all new water and sewer lines in and basically reconstructed everything in that street, and that was all done in-house with city forces. So I'm really proud of the guys working out there and getting that job done, and I appreciate the patience of the citizens because we did run over our projected time frame.
I know you're appreciated because I've seen pictures on Facebook that says we're getting a new street. So,
well, that's good.
So you did good.
Good.
You did good.
The second thing, I think, in my city manager's report, I have been periodically giving the council an update on the Teishan Village Overpass, and I think you saw some of that Tuesday night. The council's been concerned regarding the traffic delays that have been occurring. I am in the process of scheduling a meeting with the Texas Department of Transportation, our area engineer, Mr. Dill, to discuss the council's concern, invite him down to a council meeting because we want to make sure that we work in partnership with TxDOT on this project because before this project is complete, the overpass at the intersection of Highway 95 and 71 will be commencing construction, and that's going to add further traffic disruptions, which lead to further traffic delays. And we will, in mid-year of next year, bring the University of Texas back down that did the mobility study to see if things are working like we should and we're getting the traffic through. It's one thing that also we need to keep in mind when you completely rip up a major highway such as State Highway 71 with 40,000 cars a day going through there, especially at your peak times like early in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. It's just almost impossible not to experience some traffic delays because you've restricted your traffic flow, especially when you take 2 lanes down to 1 for a certain distance. But we will be addressing those concerns with the council, maybe providing some alternate routes for people to come around, and because we understand that it is viewed as a detriment to our community when we see long lines of traffic. The police are out there periodically checking the traffic to make sure it's flowing correctly. But like on Thanksgiving Day, I couldn't hardly even get on 71. I wanted to see how the traffic was flowing,
Right.
and could hardly get on 71 at 12 o'clock. So, but I ask again for our citizens' patience. We are not ignoring the issue. There'll be some future discussions with the council on that. And also, we've got to get geared up for when 95 and 71 commences construction, because that's going to confront the city with some major challenges from a transportation perspective.
And of course, now it's the holidays, so keep taking your patience pills.
That's right. That's right.
We need to hang in there.
And I know when people go out shopping and they've been in
Yes.
long shopping lines, the last thing they want to get into is a long traffic lane. So I understand that.
But it's going to be pretty spectacular when it's all finished.
Especially, yes, and Bastrop Arts and Public Places has been working with us. You're going to see some nice artwork on the panels that will be representative of Bastrop, and I think really showcase our community. I really appreciate the members of the Bastrop Arts and Public Places for working with us and giving us their expert input on that, because they certainly didn't want me to give an okay on artwork. So they've been a great group to work with, and we're really pleased with what I think you'll be seeing up there on those panels.
Great. When will that entire project be completed, Mike? Do you think?
Okay.
A couple of years, I'm sure.
Yes, both overpasses were TxDOT schedule was 22 months. So if they'll start the Highway 71 in March of 2016, so it's going to probably be December of 17 or January of 18, pending that we don't have a lot of rain at a specific time that will delay construction. If we have normal weather and patterns, then that's when you would expect that to be complete. I believe that Teishan will be completed June or July of 2016. So there won't be that
Right around
much.
the corner.
Yeah, that's around the corner. So, but again, when you get into that type of construction, and I don't want to get into a technical issue here, but you have to be very careful how you compact your soils and put your pavement down, because if you don't do proper density and testing, you will have significant pavement failures, and we don't want that. And when you receive heavy rains like we've had, it raises havoc getting that density at an acceptable level.
Are they going to be adding lanes to the bridge across the Colorado?
That is phase 3.
That's phase 3.
And we did talk about that briefly Tuesday night as well. That project is in the planning stage. They are putting the final touches to the plans for that project, and they'll be going out and holding public hearings on that phase. It has not been funded yet, but we're hoping that it'll be funded in the next 2 years.
Okay, so we're going to have to take double patience pills for that one, because I can anticipate that's going to be a major deal.
Well, that is, but it's not going to be quite as bad as the overpasses, because basically from 95 to the west side of the Colorado River, those are going to be new service roads that are going to be installed on each side. So the only disruption of traffic is the way people are used to traveling using Highway 71 from 95 to the river. That's going to change completely, but most of the construction will be off on the side streets.
Okay, well, good. You planned that well.
Well, I didn't. I'm just part of helping it move along.
You're getting ready to hire some new people.
Yes, very delighted. We, in the new fiscal year 16 budget, we did approve the position of fire chief. This will be the first time in the history of the city, to my knowledge, that we will be putting on staff a full-time fire chief. That's a greatly needed position, and we'll be building from that. We have been accepting applications. We went through some interviewing last week. Our chief of police, who now has become our director of public safety, will be overseeing both the police and the fire chief's department. And I'm letting him pretty much schedule the interviewing process and the people, because I think it's important that they pick the people that they were going to work with. But I've been sitting in on some of the interviews and been meeting periodically with Chief Adcock, and I hope that we can have a fire chief on staff mid-January of next year, because we got to take into account the holidays and such. But that's our goal at this time.
Okay,
and then we've had the vacancy at the Main Street Director's position. We were very fortunate and blessed that our former Main Street Director for many years, who retired several months ago, Miss Nancy Wood, agreed to come back on an interim basis. Nancy's just a real motivating force of our Main Street activities, and was of great relief to me that she was willing to come back for an interim time. And again, hopefully we will have a person selected before the end of the year or right after the first of the year.
Outstanding. New faces.
New faces, yes, and
It's
new
good.
departments, and some new challenges for us.
Talk to us about the water situation. We're all interested in water.
Yes, I gave an update about a month ago. We were originally scheduled to have what we call our administrative hearing for our water permit on November the 9th. The judge that will be overhearing that administrative hearing wanted the parties to submit some additional information for him to review. So the hearing was postponed for 60 days, but the hearing will commence on January 4th. So right after the first of the year, that hearing will take place. It will probably be a 2 to 3 day hearing, and then after all of the evidence has been presented to the judge, then he will take a period of time, and it varies from case to case on him rendering his opinion on what should be done. With our particular case, I would project that he would be issuing his finding of facts within 90 to 120 day time frame, because we're not asking for a significant amount of water. Our permit application is for 2,000 acre feet. It's not like some of the ones that the district has been dealing with that are 30,000 and 40,000 acre feet. So, we feel very good about where things stand today. Plus, we've also been working very diligently reconfiguring and reoperating our entire current well system. We instituted a year ago a new maintenance program for the wells to operate more efficiently, and I hope to be bringing to the council after the first of the year that because of the efforts that we've undertaken in cleaning the wells and reconfiguring them and operating them, that we will be able to add potentially 300 to 400 and maybe 500 gallons per minute of additional water to our water supply. Yes, and so the wells are operating very good. What we call our static level, that's after the well has pumped and shut off, and then the water comes back up in the well. Our static levels have been remaining very firm. We did not have that a couple of years ago, but again, with the work that we've done, the way that we're operating the wells and configuring the water into our zones has helped immensely.
Wonderful. Well, for those of us who just turn on the faucet and we get water, I know that there's a lot more involved in that.
Yes.
And it's,
In fact, it's so important. I have a water committee meeting every the second and fourth Tuesday of each month. We talk nothing about our water operations. We're looking at how much water our customers are using. And I want to thank our customers. Our customers are really water conscious, in my opinion. Our per capita level is roughly about 180 gallons to 220 gallons per day. It varies, but on average, that's what we're seeing our customers. And that's a pretty good for a city our size. Right. Usually you might see a figure of 300 to 325. So people in Bastrop conserve water, and that's becoming an ever more precious commodity. Sure. And so I commend our citizens in being conscious and utilizing this very precious resource. Right. in a very good manner.
So turn off the faucet when you're not using it. That's what it all boils down to.
Yes.
I actually do read your reports, yes. And there was something in there about Gills Branch, and I must say, Mike, that I did not know where Gills Branch was until I saw the map. Well, so what are you doing at Gills Branch?
And that's the whole purpose of and what Bonnie's referring to is my city manager's report that I prepare for the council for each council meeting. It is on the website if you'd like to read it. But the specific project that Bonnie's referring to is Gills Branch from State Highway 95 down to 71 area of the railroad tracks. The city received what we call a fuel mitigation grant, and that was funds to go in there from 95 all the way down to 71 and clean out all the junk, debris, brush, and take down trees, anything that was larger than 6 inches in diameter, because that restricts the flow of water going down through there. Now, we're not changing the elevations because that's a whole another process, but the cleaning out and the removal of that, one will greatly reduce the feasibility of a fire starting in there by getting brush that has accumulated for many years over there, and also help the water flow down through there during a rain event. And that's why the larger trees will be removed unless they're up close to the top of the bank, and then we want them there for bank stabilization.
Right. I know that the city has gotten a couple of feathers in their cap.
Yes.
And I want you to talk about those feathers because they're pretty big feathers.
Yes. Well, the one is we were a semifinalist in the Main Street program through the Downtown Merchants. Bonnie, I've been affiliated with the Texas Main Street program since 1982 when it first started, and it's a wonderful program. And all the community I've worked in has been a Main Street city, but our city has won more awards than all the other cities combined. And it's reflective of the fact that we have a very active Merchants Association that works well with our Main Street program, which is a key to the whole success, and them to be recognized for their marketing efforts and their billboard program, I think was a tremendous recognition of the strong cooperation between Main Street and our merchants. And I really want to thank them for the creativity they came up with that billboard program and winning the state award for best marketing program. And I'm just couldn't be prouder of our community for receiving that award.
Absolutely.
And then our planning department instituted a program called FormBased Codes. An area was identified and a task force was put together by the council. I can't think of all the members' names, but they worked really hard for over a year in analyzing the areas about the central area of our town and coming up with standards of how we can better develop and infill and the development in the downtown area and keep it in relationship to what is there to recognize our historic heritage. and they had several meetings, but the program was implemented. It won both the regional and the state award for one of the best planning programs that was submitted for 2015. And so my hat is off to our director of planning and the planning staff and the task force that put many hours in to develop a program to help us to continue to recognize the heritage of our community.
I want to tell our viewers that when I heard about form-based codes, my eyes kind of glazed over, but I attended a couple of the meetings and it makes sense, which was kind of a unique thing to me. Anytime somebody said zoning and they gave me all these letters and these numbers and I was all confused, but once you laid it all out,
Yes.
they did a remarkable job of explaining it so that just regular old people can understand that.
Right.
So that's a good thing.
And I'm, after the first year, going to ask that task force to come back, and the council and the mayor have asked us to look at the northern part of our city, and we're going to have some roundtable discussions on what would be best for that area of our city.
And I will also tell our viewers that when the city does these meetings, it is a genuine open house.
Yes.
It's an open door. And so if you have some ideas, and I will tell you that even if you don't have any ideas off the top of your head, when you get there and learn a little bit more about it, you may have some ideas. So this is a really great way to get involved.
And I appreciate you bringing that up, Bonnie, because our meetings are open to the public, and public participation in these meetings are important. We have had, over the last years, some inquiries that maybe our website could be a little more user-friendly. Our IT department is working and hope to be, after the first of the year, coming out with a new web page that will make it easier for the citizens to identify what meetings are taking place at what time, and so that if they want to come down to the meetings, they can. As you know, we've taken over and created BXTV,
Right.
and we will probably be filming some of those meetings, so if people can't make it to the meeting, they can watch it on the public access channel to see what was taking place.
And still make comments, by the way.
Yes, and still and provide comments after they viewed that, and that's what we're trying to seek.
Right.
And I'm really excited about the work that Colin and Andreas has done in developing our public access channel. I think it's going to be a great tool to communicate with our citizens and get them more involved in what's taking place down here at City Hall.
Well, city council meetings are now live streamed,
That's
are they
correct,
not?
yes.
So, and if you don't catch it on live stream, then you catch it on YouTube later.
Or on our TV.
Or on the BXTX channel.
Now, I think on UVerse it's channel 99, but I don't know what it is on channel 10 on Time Warner.
Okay.
And so it runs periodically through the week, the 2 weeks before the next council meeting.
Right.
So.
And those are the two channels that will begin to fill up as you get
Right.
as more programming becomes available.
Right, and a lot of legwork and hard work by Colin and Andres was put in so that we could have this program today. I was amazed at the equipment that they had to install and coordinate all this so they could be sent out to our public, and they've just done a commendable job. I'm very proud of them, and they have done the city a great service in being able to get this information out to our citizens.
Well, speaking of public meetings, and I will tell you that I know that the meetings on getting some sort of public access TV have been going on for quite a while, and people came up to city council meetings and they spoke and they said, gee, this is what we want, and here it is.
Yes.
So, you know,
Yep.
gee, it works.
Yes, it
That's
does.
kind of nice to know.
Yes, yes.
Veterans Day car show, how did that go?
Well, I talked to a few of the car club members. They couldn't have been more pleased with the turnout. They had a great turnout. They were really working very hard to try to get someone that was going to film the car show that might have potentially ended up putting it on the Discovery Channel.
Wow.
But unfortunately that didn't happen, but and talking with them, they think that they might come down and do. They're going to have a small car show later in the first part of 2016, and hoping to get that gentleman down because we had well over 300 cars here, a tremendous draw. I would say the attendance was anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000. It's hard to count when people are coming and going, but there was a steady flow of traffic all day. And talking with the car club, they're getting geared up to do it next year. So
you know what amazes me about that, because I think for several years I actually and it's all done by volunteers. People just, you volunteer, and you can. There's so many things you can do. I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and bundle up and go down and register cars. But guess what? You get to be the first person to see all the cars. So that was kind of cool.
And for me, like looking at a 1971 car and they still have the original sticker price on there, I'm saying, if you could buy a new car, darn. That's right. If I could only buy a car for that today.
I wanted to ask you about the bus shelters. You had something on your report about bus shelters, and that was an important thing for people in a certain area of town. So tell us about those.
Yes. Under our citizens' comments section, about 6 to 9 months ago, some citizens from the northern part of our city came to the council and expressed some concern that when the children are picked up from school, some of them have to stand out, and if it's raining, they say they don't have a raincoat or they don't have an umbrella, and so they're soaking wet by the time they get to school. And having recently got soaking wet during the flood, it's not a pleasant feeling. And so they asked the council to consider coming up with some type of bus shelter program. We initially came up with a wood design wood design for the bus shelter. And in discussing that with the council, though they liked the design for longevity purposes, they felt it would be better if we went to a metal type. So we retrofitted it to a metal. We presented that to the council, I think a month and a half ago. The council blessed it, and my commitment to the citizens and to the council was that the city would install the first bus shelter, and so we've ordered the bus kit, and these will be kits that will be made available. And the first one will probably go up somewhere on Main Street. The mayor is working with them on the exact location, but once the kit gets here and we get the location, I hope it will be erected during the first quarter of next year.
Oh, wonderful. Just before the rainy season.
And
Thank you.
We're hoping that some of the civic organizations and other groups will take this on as a project and put them in strategic locations. We also want to work very closely with the Bastrop Independent School District, because no sense putting...
They're for the kids.
That's right, they're for the kids, and they know best where the kids are gathering and the bus stops are.
Sure. So now when you say different organizations in town can get involved, are you looking for different organizations to purchase a kit and put that up?
Yes.
All right.
And the city's going to have to provide assistance to those. So we'll have to help level out the site, identify the site, stake it out for them.
So you're looking for stakeholders for the bus shelters.
Right, and then we'll turn over to them and let them install that.
Okay.
But some of the drilling of the post holes or something like that,
you can help with that.
We're going to help with that.
Okay.
Yeah, you bet.
What do you know yet? What the cost of, if someone was interested in being a stakeholder?
Because we went to metal, it did significantly increase the price. I believe it's going to be around $5,000.
Okay.
We had to go to a metal manufacturer, and that was a quote that he gave us, but now that he's actually making the kit, when I get the bill, I'll know the exact price. And he said, I might be a little bit high, but at this point, it's around the $5,000 range.
This would be a good thing for maybe a couple of groups to get together. If the price tag's too much for one, you could
that's right. That doesn't say
get together and
3 or 4 groups get together, and Bastrop Art in Public Places has already expressed an interest. Once they're put up, they want to put some artistic painting.
Oh, yay!
And that would be
that would be great.
Great. Just like their transformer project that you've seen throughout the
Yes.
community. That has been an enlightening experience, and I was very fortunate to be able to work with them on that, and it's just been a great program for our community.
I have to tell you, I put those transformers on my Facebook page and got people all over the country saying,
I'll
wow,
bet.
that's kind of cool. We
It
should be
is.
doing that in my community. So
Yes.
that was cool.
Yes.
Not this report, but the report last week, you talked about the sandbar down at Fisherman's Park.
Right.
And I guess I've been down to Fisherman's Park a lot of times, and I know there's a boat ramp, but I don't guess I ever realized that people actually use the boat ramp.
Well, yes, and more importantly, that boat ramp is designated as what we call an emergency launch site in the event that someone gets hurt or stranded on the river. And so a few years ago, we put in a whole new boat ramp, and because the other one was getting to the point where it was really deteriorating. But for whatever reason, when we've had these, the Memorial rain and then this most recent rain in October, for whatever reason, the currents have just
Made a sandbar.
sandbar of significant size, and we're coordinating with the various state and federal agencies to clean that sand out. And there's a positive to that. That sand is what we call very good select material. And we will be storing that sand up at the Public Works Yard. So when we get into replacing water or sewer mains, we always backfill around the pipe and elevate up with this select fill. So this will be a cost savings to our citizens for a few projects because we won't have to buy that select material. But I'm hoping to get all the approvals within the first quarter of 2016. And once we get that approval, we've got to create a little basin because we did find some minnows down there, and we've got to clean out and get them into the river. And then we'll put some skirting around there, and then we'll begin hauling it out. And if you've been down there, you know it's pretty significant, the sandbar that's been created.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yes.
How nice to know that we're recycling the sand. That was,
Oh, yes.
Was that a stroke of luck? I mean, do you run across that kind of sand very often?
Not unless
wouldn't
you're
think
close
so.
to a river. And it really is good material. It is just you really can't buy better material for that. It's one of the standards that's been put in place over time. They didn't do that 50
Right.
years ago, but you find that you increase the longevity of your infrastructure by bedding it around with good bedding material.
Oh, see, I would not have known that unless you told me. The holidays are popping up.
Yes.
And I had a question on my list of things. What's your favorite thing about Bastrop during the holidays? Or do you even have can you pick one?
One thing is just the way the community looks at Christmas time, the people in and around, how they decorate the houses and driving through downtown. It helps you get in the Christmas spirit. And to me, that is fulfilled, which will be this Saturday when we have the annual Christmas parade. Of all the parades that we do, this is probably the biggest parade of the year. And we have a number of floats and participants. And it's just a great way to get into the Christmas spirit. And then after the parade, take an opportunity to walk down the river walk and see all the Christmas lights and items that have been put up to celebrate Christmas. And that's what my wife and I normally do after the Christmas parade. I usually help the police department with the parade, but then we just
Take a little stroll.
down by the river,
Right.
and you really get into the Christmas spirit. So it's a favorite time of the year for me, and I'm just very honored that I have the opportunity to be able to participate in that.
It's my understanding we're going to have an ice rink.
Yes.
I can't imagine having an ice rink downtown, but okay.
Yeah, they're going to try to put one in, and I used to ice skate when I lived in upstate New York, and we look forward to having.
When's the last time you skated, Mike?
It's been a while. It has been a while. I don't think you'll see me out there
Okay.
ice skating, but uniquely, the city where I grew up in had a ice skating rink, and in the winter, when it stayed below freezing most of the time, we all, as kids, would go down at night and skate for an hour down at the skating rink. That's where we all gathered in the wintertime, because Up there, that's about all you could do.
Yeah, really.
That's all you could do, yes.
Yeah, my mom used to ice skate, but that was, many years ago.
But I enjoyed it, but I won't be trying this time around.
Yeah. Well, they need to be selling hot chocolate too.
Oh, they will be.
Okay.
They will be.
You
You
got to
bet.
have hot chocolate if
Yes.
you're doing that. Let's talk about, you're going to be doing a planning retreat with the city council soon. You do that, obviously, it's an annual planning retreat. You do that every year.
Yes, ma'am. What's I think very good about this year, we'll be doing it in January. It's scheduled for January 23rd. At this point, it appears it'll be starting at 9 o'clock, but I would encourage our viewers to watch our website because we have to post the meeting. And usually it goes to mid to late afternoon. And it's an opportunity for the council to review what we've done this last year, what are we seeing coming forth this next year. We're growing at a very rapid rate. There's a lot of construction going on. What does that mean to the city? We'll give them an update on where we're at with the comprehensive plan. I will provide them a report, what I think we've accomplished and some of the strategic issues that I think the council will be dealing with in 2016. I think that 2016 is going to be one of the most challenging years since I've been here, with all the different issues that we're going to have to be dealing with because of the growth and the impact that the growth has really reached at this point. We're going to be discussing, I know this doesn't sound like a wonderful topic, but building a new wastewater treatment plant. That's a very, very expensive.
We don't like to talk about it, but we definitely need them.
That's right. Doing some significant changes to the operation of our water system because it's now grown out much more than it has been in the past. A few years ago, when the State Highway 20 overpass was done, we were very fortunate. There was a residual track left over, and state sold that to the city. And the importance of that track is it's the same elevation as the site up at Mayfest Park where the elevated tank is. And so that's where we'll be proposing to put our next elevated tank. So what that means is on both sides of town, you're going to have an elevated tank both at the same level of elevation. That creates a good balance in the operation of your water system. And we're going to be putting another major transmission line to help water flow both ways. And we got transportation projects coming up. We'll be approving the comprehensive plan in 2016. So the council's plate is going to be very full going into 2016.
The comprehensive plan was also something else that you invited citizens to come in and
Yes.
and participate in, and it was done really well.
Yes.
We had an opportunity to kind of get our little sticky dots and put them where we thought we wanted to see things happen.
Yes.
And again, for most citizens, when you say comp plan, our eyes kind of glaze over. We have no idea what you're talking about.
But
but
we're talking about growth,
right.
infrastructure,
A
a plan, facilities. There's going to be, because we've changed so much over the last several years, there's going to be a section on tourism, the cultural arts. There's going to be a section now which was not in our previous comp plan. And then your basic elements, there's going to be a big section on transportation, infrastructure, water and sewer planning, growth, city facilities. And it's a plan to kind of guide us where we think we want to go. And a comprehensive plan is only as good as if you use it. And I hope it will be approved in 2016, because one of the things that you would do when you have a retreat with your council is you would review what has happened and compare that to what we thought was going to happen as we set forth in the comprehensive plan. So you may want to make some adjustments. You may want to move some projects up or move some projects down, but it's a living, breathing document, but it's only that if you're using it on a consistent basis.
Right. having lived in a lot of cities, I have seen where comprehensive plans just kind of sat on the shelf and collected dust. First of all, they're not easy to go through. They're not inexpensive.
No.
And so I'm always curious as to why cities might just let that sit when you could use it for a plan. Because you're right. I mean, we have too much to talk about in this particular program, but because there are building sites,
Right.
Homes are being built
Right.
for people who are coming into town. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff that's going on.
And that's why a big section of that's going to be transportation, for exactly what you've just said. And you bring up a very valid point. There are a lot of cities, and our last comp plan was not really used that much, and I don't want to see that happen with the new comp plan. And I think one of the strategic elements, and one of the reasons we selected the firm that we did, is they demonstrated to us a high level of public engagement. And it's important to hear from your public. And they're doing another comp plan for a city in an area south of San Antonio that's 3 times the size of Bastrop. We actually got more responses back on our surveys than they did down in the San Antonio area. And that is really great, that it helps us understand what are the issues of concern, because we want to build those into the plan. And then we'll be holding public hearings to present that to the citizens. And I think if you get a strong buy-in from your citizens, you then have to keep the citizens informed. How are you doing? How's it progressing?
How are we going to get there?
And we also have to recognize that we're living now in an ever-changing, fast-paced world, and we have to have some flexibility, because sometimes things may get adjusted because something may happen that just wasn't thought of at the time when the plan was put together. But don't ignore that. Just build it into the section and modify that section, and that's something that can be done in-house and doesn't require a consultant like putting the whole plan together.
I'll tell you, when I went to a couple of those comp plan meetings, and I think a lot of it was not somebody standing in front talking to you.
Right.
We were involved. You had to do something.
Right.
You got a cookie while you were there,
That's
but
right.
you know, you still
Right.
had to do something.
Right.
And people obviously have different perspectives and things that they want to do. So,
Yep.
but it was the way, you're right, the way that they went about it was
And-
different and unique, and it was
there'll
welcome.
be more public hearings and more public sessions as we begin putting chapters together, presenting them, getting some final feedback before we go to final print.
Right, right. I can't let you go without talking about the art center that's going to be
Oh,
gorgeous, right across the
Gorgeous.
street.
wonderful project. We got things worked out with the Art Guild with their site plan and the parking at Tuesday night's council meeting. And Bonnie, you're absolutely right on. I feel the same way. To have a facility like that in our community is going to be a tremendous drawing card for people to want to come to Bastrop. And I have to commend the members of the Art Guild. When they first approached many of us about this project, and it's like, you really realize what we're getting into, and to have brought this project in about a 5-year time frame to the point where they're actually building it today is just remarkable, and they're to be commended for the efforts that they put forward to make this project a reality.
Well, for our people who are viewing who may not know exactly what it is, can you kind of describe
there's going
what
to be,
it is?
there's going to be a big complex up front on Chestnut Street. There'll be different types of artists and activities in there, and places for some artists to work. And then there are going to some of the silos out back.
Yes.
There'll be, I believe those are going to be for specialized areas. And then they'll be having various art display programs, classroom instructions for people here locally who may want to learn what it is to paint or something like that.
Right.
They don't want me, because but
I do very nice stick people.
that's right. And there'll be sculpture aspects of it, and they're going to have an area for an open venue to have some festivities there. It's just a very multifaceted cultural art program that has just many elements to it. I'm just kind of glossing the 30,000 foot level, but you really should look at the site as you drive by, and the picture that they've got up there. You'll see the magnitude, and again, that's part of our revitalization of our community. We started with City Hall and the Convention Center, then the Bastrop Economic Development Corporation funded and the city administered the new sidewalk program on Chestnut Street, and now we're adding the Art Guild. I think it's just going to be greater enhancements to our community, and really showcase what a wonderful place Bastrop really is.
When do they anticipate that to be completed? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Because it's a very significant project.
It's a big one.
I would say a minimum of a year, because I know that's what City Hall was a little bit over a year in constructing, and they've got elements beyond what we had at City Hall.
Right, exactly. What else do we need to know about the city? I know, for example, that one of the ways that people can get involved in city government is to join a board or a task force. Sometimes you have task forces and such like that. And there's
Right.
run the gamut.
Right. Well,
Parks and
we have
zoning and
we have I think 17 or 18 boards. They range from Historic Landmark Commission, Planning and Zoning Commission, the Parks Board, Bastrop Arts and Public Places, the Zoning Board of Adjustments, the Construction Board of Adjustments, the Bastrop Economic Development Corporation Board is appointed by the council. I'm missing a few here, but all you have to do is go on the website. The application is on the website. And if you want to get involved in your city government, it's a great opportunity to have some, to be part of those committees. I work with a lot of them throughout the course of the year, and it's great to see your citizens participating and giving input, because sometimes we get so deep into the forest that we're sometimes, and to hear what the boards have to say are so helpful. And encourage you to fill that out, and most generally the appointments are made in the May-June timeframe, unless there's a vacancy that occurs on a board for one reason or another. A member has left. The council will maybe make a mid-year appointment to fill a vacancy that has occurred.
I want to tell you one of the things that I've appreciated about being on a board is that I've been able to meet some of the employees.
Oh, yes.
And that has been a real pleasure.
Yes.
They're not just faceless people in some department somewhere.
Right.
And that's been nice. So maybe throughout the course of this, we'll have an opportunity to bring one or two of them in. And
I would cherish that, because we really do have a wonderful group of people that work here. They really are an inspiration to me, and what keeps me motivated coming here is the employees, the opportunity to work with our employees. We have a lot of highly qualified people on staff, and they just do a lot of things that people don't see, and they're very committed to providing good public services. That's not saying that we're all human. We're going to make a mistake one time or another, but we are committed to working with the citizens and the community to make Bastrop a better place. And I think I can speak for all the employees. We all share that same commitment. Periodically, I hold an organizational meeting and update some things that are going on in the city, but we always kind of end with, what we're here for, what we're supposed to be doing, and you can see that from the faces of the employees and their questions to me, they're engaged in what I call servant leadership, public servant attitude, and I'm very pleased. And I feel very blessed to be city manager, to work with such a great group of people.
Well, your brain amazes me. You know a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff. And so I enjoy the opportunity to talk with you
Well,
so that I
thank
can
you.
understand it just a little bit better. Thank you for joining us today. We've been delighted to have you here. This is Moving Bastrop Forward. If you want to know more about the city, go to the city website, and we will be around next time.
And Bonnie, thank you. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. It was very much
You bet.
enjoyable.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.